And now I gotta like
Yeah, you gotta
sparse it up. But
rationalize it. Yeah.
all right, Brandon, cheers,
Yeah,
my
man.
friend. Hey,
Cheers to
thank you
you,
for doing
brother.
the show.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having
Awesome.
me.
Guys, thank you. This is a little dig. I'm here with my buddy Brandon, who's so gracious to have me in his home right now to just talk about life, talk about his life, our lives, and the world itself. Right now, we're talking about some other fun stuff. But
Yeah,
thank you,
man.
dude, for doing the show.
Well, first of all, welcome to my wife's home.
Oh yeah,
Let's keep it real. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know that. I know how that goes.
I laugh because you like how long you been you've been married, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm married about 6 years. We're going on 6 years.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Brandon, do me a favor. Could you spin that so the green light is facing up?
You got it. You got it.
I think that's the speaker on the top.
Yeah, there you
Let's
go.
make sure. Yeah, that's it.
See, my wife and I, Tanya, I've been together for 20 years, right?
20
so,
years.
we get in these conversations. We've been married since 2010. So, we've been together a long time. And we've gone through a lot of stuff together. And we talked about these conversations. It's like, oh, no, it's y'all's house. It's y'all's house. I'm like, all right, that's cool that you say that. Like, even my wife would get mad sometimes. No, it's our house. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just hypothetically throw this out. Reach down the bottom of the what if barrel. I want a divorce and I'm keeping the house. I want half. And she just starts laughing. You know, it's like, I rest my case. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's your house. It's mine because we're together.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and let us get divorced. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to ask.
Temporarily your house.
Yeah, I'm allowed to live here. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh, man. I know how that goes, man. I think, I know your wife a little bit.
Yeah.
She's awesome. We're both, I think, very lucky in the sense that we've got two very well-established women at home that are just the best. You know what I mean? Just super lucky, man.
I think it's like a blend, right? A lot of people, they have these ideas about marriage. I'm like, man, there's no book for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got these relationships different, right? It's like you talk like two snowflakes are the same. And for my wife and I, it works. You know what I'm saying? Like the way we do things, the way we've always been, like people like, you don't make bank accounts. I'm like, no, my wife saves her money. I'm like, I'm going out and blowing my shit. I'm going to Dave and Buster's with my kid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like what about retirement? I'm like, nah, I'm just going to work till I die. I think I'm going to live out my years now. Have a good time. So don't get me wrong. I'm not broke running around, but like she's definitely the saver. So kind of jerk off would I be, you know what I mean? She's saving her money. I'm out there blowing her account. It's like, nah, works for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's, but at the same time, like you talk about two good women, they're professionals, but they still, like, Alan, when was the last time your wife stopped you from going camping?
Oh, yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, she's never like, go take our son. Gives her a night home. You know what I mean? She's by herself. So that's what I tell people all the time. Like, you don't try to control each other and how each other are living. And you're both working to be independently strong, but just together. Like, that's like the sweet spot for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Neither one of us needs each other, but we want to be around each other. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like one of the most important things to remember. It's like, I don't fucking need her. Don't get me wrong. I'd be worse off without her than she would be without me. You know what I'm saying? However, I want to be around my wife. She's awesome.
Hell yeah, man. I'm so lucky as far as like the wife department goes, in the sense that we work together. We met at work,
Nice.
So like, we both have a good understanding of what we go through on a daily basis at work. But when it comes to sort of like after work stuff, if I didn't have her support with like comedy and being to like go out, because that's a lot, like you have to, very similar probably to fighting in the sense 100%. Where, there's the things you have to do during the day to make ends meet, but then you got to go train, right? Yeah. So it's like comedy, you got to go to open mics, you got to practice.
Yeah. You get selfish.
Yeah, very selfish at times. And it's hard to be selfish if you don't have somebody that's willing to support you. It's like, because you don't want to feel like it's selfish.
Right.
You don't want to feel like
selfish.
Yeah, but you have 100%. To be. So very lucky in that sense.
Yeah,
man.
To get good at anything, you have to be selfish with your time a little bit. I remember like you talking about with fighting. The joke was always like, in the romance department, right? I didn't do anything like 2-3 weeks out. And she would always come in and be like, when's the thing shutting down around here? Like, I got 3 days, And then after that, it would be funny to get me in the mood. It'd be, as far as like, for fighting, literally she would go to cuddle me. I'm like, not nice for 2 weeks. She'd jump on board. She'd give me that little, I'm like, oh. You know what I'm saying? And it was funny, it was comical in some ways, you know what I'm saying? But it was like just to have that support. You know what I mean? You know, there's one person in the crowd, like even if you can't pay attention to her, like she's got you, the person's got your support. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, like when you go, like I can't punch my wife in the crowd, but
Yeah.
as like a comedian, do you have like plants in a way? Like, can does your
She
wife know
hates
you?
it. She
Yeah, I was
hates
getting
it.
ready to say, like,
Hates it.
you know what I mean? Like,
I always do it.
yeah,
I always
yeah.
do. She does, at this point, she knows all my stuff, and she doesn't come to a show unless it's like a bigger show where maybe some of her family's coming out now or some of her friends. And we have a lot of the same friend, like, her, group of people that she hangs out with at work or maybe works a little bit more directly with.
Right.
I'm also friends with, but that's
Yeah.
usually who'll maybe come out to a show and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I don't do it as much anymore, but most of my jokes come from a place of family.
Yeah.
I'm not clean by any sense. I'm not like, but I'm mostly just family oriented. So a lot of my jokes are about my wife.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
she's got a
the real
great sense
stuff.
of humor about it, you know?
100%.
Now, were you already fighting before you met your wife?
No. I've been known as the great dupester.
Nice.
Right. So I met my wife. I was working in construction, but then I switched careers right when I met her. I went into sales, and I ended up we got together. We started living together like months after we started dating.
Yeah.
And it was out of like just necessity in a way, because her roommate was getting married and moving out. I left my job and I was actually living with my boss at the time in a company paid apartment. I was essentially homeless. Like I couldn't afford rent and a car note and all this. It's pretty expensive at the time. I wasn't making that much money. So she had no roommate. So I was like, boom, we just moved in together. We split everything 50-50. So it was like, if she paid this bill, that bill, we had like IOUs. Instead it was you owe me.
Yeah.
Right? I paid this much, you paid that much, we divvy it up. So we split everything 50-50 in the beginning. And as we were renting together. And then it just kind of allowed us to not even worry about the money. We were just worried about getting to know each other, dating each other, having fun, because the business was taken care of. That was one thing we both always kind of had a mutual grounding on. And so when that happened, I went to work for a corporation, which I was a manufacturer at, like sales, essentially. Mm-hmm. They said, no, I'm traveling 13 states. So I don't know if it was a good or bad thing, but it worked for us because we weren't around each other a lot as we were both kind of growing and cultivating. Yeah. So it allowed us to kind of like grow independently, but like we always communicated when I was on the road. I was always calling her, you know what I'm saying? Because I was seeing like coworkers and stuff that weren't always being the best.
Yeah.
With their wives, I was like, ooh, I don't want to end up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry to interrupt you. What did I do with my water?
I don't know. There's a glass right there though.
Oh, here it is.
But so long story short, she was working for a corporation that had her come up here to Massachusetts. And it was when the Patriots won the Super Bowl, but it wasn't like when it was Tom Brady killing it and everybody. It was a few years before that.
Yeah.
So one of the first times they won it in a while. And she happened to be up here for a meeting and company. And the guy was like, let's sneak out with a parade. She snuck out, went to the parade. She came back from Mass and was like, I kind of like the culture. I'm ready to get out of Virginia. I'd moved to Mass. Yeah. She knew I was going to come back up here because my family was from up here. And I just never let her take it back. Once she said it, I was like, we're out. We're going. And so I was dealing with some things still kind of like, life coming up wasn't that great. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of struggles I went through, fatherless abandonment kind of situation. My real father, stepfather wasn't quite a very nice guy, you know what I'm saying, to keep it surface level. And then my mother, struggling to try to do the best she could do with me, again, fell prey to a lot of men kind of utilizing that, taking advantage of that. So there wasn't a lot of proper male role models in my life. So that led me into the Marine Corps to kind of go find myself. I was like, I need to break. There's one thing I just hung on to. 7th grade, I saw a commercial. It was like oh,
they have sick commercials.
Dude, to paint the scene in this particular situation, and my mother and I were living in this town called Harmony. It wasn't much harmonious about it all. The kids, it was 7th grade, kids were picking on me a lot. And we had a trailer in the middle of a field, no running water, no electricity, no septic. We had an outhouse. We had an old car hardwired to a floodlight and a TV radio combo. So I'm sitting there chattering under the blankets. I was 7th grade. I'm on my own a lot. She's coming home from work, doing the best she could do. And I saw this old commercial, this dude climbing a mountain and he's slaying dragons and turns into a Marine. And I was just like,
that's it.
That's where I'm going. So from 7th grade on, I held on to it. Jumped in the Marine Corps. I was on probation, but probation officer let me off so I could go. And I was like, you'll never see me again. And I ended up graduating first in my class.
Oh, wow.
Got out of boot camp. That kind of was like, oh my God, if you get the right mentorship, the first man, besides like a high school basketball coach, but the first man that ever like truly loved me, I tell people all the time, like, and rewarded me for my hard work was a drill instructor. Like, go figure. It was like that man showed me love just by like recognizing my effort. And that is why I accomplished so much in just boot camp alone.
Yeah.
So went through the Marine Corps, got out, and kind of got into the corporate world and kind of lost my way again. I'm around all these just, broken men trying to be a boss, making your life miserable. You know how it is, trying to figure it out. Some bosses, next you're a threat to their job because you're outperforming them and bouncing around. And finally, I was with my wife. We moved up here, kind of merged these stories together. And I was just always been a trainer in a gym, helping people out. And I was still dealing with like when these men would say something. I was 240-pound meathead at the time. I was all juiced up. You know what I'm saying? I was gassing like it was cool, trying to find strength. So lo and behold, you know what I'm saying? I move up this way and I was like, I'm going to quit this job. But if I'm going to do my own business, because I was making good money at the time, I was like, I had to do something I love. I was going to become a trainer. And I knew boxing fitness was kind of taking off. I'm like, dude, I'll train in boxing. I get like 1 or 2 amateur fights. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of be credible. Like, I don't want to be a fake dude teaching fitness boxing classes. I want to have some boxing experience. At that time, I'd already done a tough man fight. I don't know if you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I still love it. Yeah.
My buddy
King of the 4-rounders.
Yeah, dude. My buddy talked me into doing one I was in a Marine Corps with before Mass. And I went out there and the dude 1-2'd me all over the place. Like, it was a good little scuffle. They wanted me to come back. I was like, yeah, I'll come back tomorrow. Had a concussion. Couldn't get better for like 4 days. Long story short, I'm up here, find a trainer, so on and so forth. 9 months after training, I won every tournament in New England, Golden Glove champion. And as I'm going through this in my 30s, mind you, I'm into philosophy. I'm studying, I'm reading. I'm like, I'm starting to feel this confidence building and like this need to be aggressive or project toughness everywhere I go started to come down as my calmness and confidence in what I am capable of started going up. And that just kind of, I started realizing, oh, this is that last piece I'm needing to finish off this like bitch that's still inside me, right? Guys are looking at me like, you're a bitch still. You're afraid of what will happen. So that led me down the road to 21 amateur fights, 9 pro fights before I was done. You know what I'm saying? And my last fight, I had to come up off the floor 2 times on Veterans Day.
Wow.
You know what I mean? My wife was in the crowd, like still going through all this crazy support shit. Always the loudest one in the crowd. She had to leave the room. It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude had me dead to rights. I just made a comeback and stopped him in the 3rd round.
Hell yeah.
And I remember the story because
How many rounds was the fight?
It was 6.
6 rounds.
This motherfucker had an idea to get it done early, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He caught me quick. And I just remember like, things going by. It's crazy. Like, flash here, flash there. It was almost like Edward Norton the day after he was the Hulk. He's taking a shower. He just sees machine guns going on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember much but bits and pieces, right? I was dead to rights. I just remember looking at my coach. He's telling me to grab him. I said, no. And I just remember a lot of the abuse I went through that I could take. I was a kid. My older brother. I was like, he ain't got that in him. You know what I'm saying? He got tired. It was my turn. But I just remember at the end of the round, I was tagging him. Was doing great. I come back to the corner. I sit down. My coach was like, all right. I'm not even looking at my coach now. I'm looking at this motherfucker. He's like, you won that round. He goes, but you were down 2 from the first. And I snapped out of it. I said, what? He goes, yeah. You won that round, but you down 2 from the first. I said, no. I know I was down twice. Fuck you mean like I won that round? He goes, we're going into the 3rd round. I, for the life of me, thought that was the end of the 1st round.
Yeah.
I had no recollection talking to this dude between rounds 1 and 2, man. That's how unconscious on my feet I was just fighting, And that's where the training kind of took over, though, right? As soon as I got knocked around, my hands came up, protected myself, and just kind of fought through all my life's like struggles, the philosophy, the mindfulness, the training incessantly to just be better conditioned than anybody else, and just knowing that I can take abuse. I was just like, dude, a hard round's gonna end sometime, man. I just thought it was in the 1st, not the end of the 2nd.
How'd you take him out?
I went out there in the 3rd round, and I just remember like being told I need to go to this kid's body a lot. We're friends. We still stay in touch to this day. I buy tickets to all his fights. I don't even go. I just tell them, hey, bring somebody. Like, you set me free. I went out there, I hit him with a right hook to the body. And my favorite was like, Mickey Ward, just go from the head to the body. Him and Arturo Gatti, like, that was one of my favorite combos, left hook to the liver shot. And I just remember it tagged this kid's body. And he was kind of like that second round took some steam out of him. We went out, boxed a little bit. And I remember I just really couldn't get my right hand up. So I just threw a right hook to the body, come up, left hook down to the liver. He was down. He didn't get back up. And that was when the fight ended. And I just remember being like, after that, I went to go raise my hand. A lot of people, 150 people in the crowd. Like it was all my friends from Maine, the whole gym, the gym, you come to my gym, buses coming up and stuff. Like we used to get a bunch of people together. It was a crazy. And then one of my buddies from Maine was fighting the card. So we all had similar friends. So it almost sounded like all those.
The house is juice.
The place was crazy, Portland, Maine, right? And I just remember trying to raise my arm. I couldn't raise it. So I had like an AC joint separation or whatever. Yeah. And that's in this first round when he dumped me trying to catch myself.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I couldn't use my arm. Yeah. I just didn't really know it. Yeah, because I was trying to catch myself.
Yeah, adrenaline.
Like now in jiu-jitsu, you're not a fall, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to catch myself falling. I guess I separated my AC. I guess. I never went to the doctors. All I know, I was in a sling for a while. Couldn't use the arm. And it was about 2 months later, because that was in November. Actually, it was coming up on Christmas. And my son had just been born that year. So he was like 7 months old and he was in a bathtub playing. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, no man's ever going to look at you and tell you he's proud of you, like that you look at like a father, right? I'm not going to ever get that. My father at this time, he's, pretty much gone. I have no father figure in my life. I'm like my own mentor at this point. And I looked myself in the mirror and I'm like, I'm proud of you, son. And it just hit me. I was like, oh.
You did it.
You're done.
Slayed the dragons.
I'm fucking done. Yeah. I was like, you're done. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, don't be, and I like looking myself in the eyes a couple times, like, if you're done, you're done. You say you're done. Don't be like, I'm out, babe. And then 6 months later, I'm dragging her back to another fight because you see it all the time.
All the way in or all the way out.
Right? Yeah, I was it. I'm done. I'm just passing through here. I used to have this mantra of when is enough, ever enough. Different story for a different time. Came to me in a sensory deprivation tank. Nice. And I just, it resonated with me after that session that day. And when it's enough, ever enough. And then I was like, that was enough. Now I know what I'm capable of, what I can go through, how I can come out on top and still, and the training works. I don't have to keep proving. I was 37 years old at the time. I fought 4 times that year. I never intended on taking it this far. And, now it's time to go be the father I'm capable of being, the husband I'm better off being, the business owner I'm better off being. And all those things were made better by boxing, by the philosophy, by I used to say the martial art of life, right?
Yeah.
So
when you did the sensory deprivation tanks, did you do the, I've done it twice, I think, or 2 or 3 times. I did the, there's 2 different, I did the tube one. There's like the tube one, and then there's like the big wide open one with the like a starry scene on the top.
No,
I think I did that one once, and I did the small tank one twice.
Yeah, mine was a small tank, probably not much bigger than like a double sized bed, right?
Yeah.
That's it was like a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. So I was out in like Western Mass. Took me over like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there. It was at some house. Nobody was there. I went down. It was almost like Airbnb style, right? Went and punched a code.
Yeah.
Went downstairs. The tub was in there, right? Randomly, person shows up, right? Because that was my schedule. Shows me kind of what's going on, this and that. They're like, a timer will go off. You know when it's time to go. Just lock the door on your way out, right? I was like, cool. He just left. I was in a basement of some random house, right?
Just chilling.
Just chilling, dude. So I crawled in the tank. No lights, obviously, are in there and stuff. The doors right here. It was like kind of like a tapered door, just like a big steel. Like I said, maybe a queen size bed, if that. And I got in the water and just floating around, just bobbing around. And I was in there. It was an hour and a half session. I was there for a long time.
Yeah, that is long.
Meditating at a time. And you go through weird emotions, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it was like almost erotic, right? It was weird. Yeah. It took me that way. Then it took me through some like kind of stressful, anxious places. Then it was just calm. It was almost like kind of going to like this weird peak of like an acid trip or something.
Yeah.
More like mushrooms, because it wasn't as aggressive as acid. But that was when I was in a tank, felt like it was 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and I was like, but it was an hour and a half, timer went off. But in that time, I'm sitting there floating around. It would sound like someone's outside the tank. It was like, when is enough ever enough? I kind of snapped out of it. I'm like, hello? And there's nobody there. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it stuck with me so long. I was like on a cusp of a fight, you know what I'm saying, at the time. And I was like, when's enough ever enough to fight? Weird, you know what I mean? But that was my brain being like, so what else do you need to wrap this part of your life up to go into the next area, So it was pretty cool. But it was the only time I ever did it.
I had a little bit of trouble the first time. I couldn't get, I couldn't relax. I felt like
It's a weird sensation.
stressed. Yeah, I did it for it was like a 45-minute
Yeah.
session. And then I did it again the second time for the 45 was like the short one.
Right, right.
And then I did the longer one. I don't remember. It was maybe 60 minutes, maybe 70 minutes or something like
Yeah.
that. Or six, I think it was 65 minutes. We'll split the difference.
Yeah.
And that one I did feel, I almost felt like I was on acid a little bit
Yeah.
too. You know, not as intense, but I almost saw these like pulsating
Yeah.
sort of
Yep.
like flashes, you
Yeah.
know? It
It's
was
almost like light bouncing off the
yeah,
back of
and
your
I couldn't
brain.
tell. I was like, are my eyes, am I closing my eyes right now? Or are my eyes open? You
Yeah, it's
know?
wild.
And then the third time I did it was in the tank that was a little bit bigger and it had the lights.
All right.
And
I've
it
never
was
even heard of that.
it was way worse
Yeah.
because having the lights there, I couldn't help but have my eyes open and I'm sort of looking around trying to pay
Yeah.
attention. Versus in the two where it's completely dark. It took me to a dark place,
Yeah.
but then it got better.
Yeah.
Versus the other one that with the lights, I never really.
No, it's kind of a distraction.
It was exactly. I was distracted.
I think the dark place I always equate to like turbulence. It's like to get to the calm seas or the calm skies, you gotta like go through that turbulence real quick. Because it's almost like when you do these things, like to tap into that part of your brain, whether it be a sensory deprivation or a psychedelic of some sort. For me anyway, I gotta kind of go through that like anxiousness of like when a plane's taking off.
Yeah.
Like I have to like leave like that feeling of control
No
over my
control.
life at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I'm not gonna microdose. Like, I can do that and go out and hang out. I can be doing it right now. You wouldn't really know,
Yeah.
you know. But if you're gonna start taking stuff that gets you to that place where you can almost kind of feel like the tremors, I call it like the lift off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like so to get to that place of calmness, I feel like it's almost like a rite of passage. You got to go through all the deficits of character, the thought you might have had that one time.
Yeah, I'm a fraud.
I'm a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I'm walking around in disguise, not
Yeah.
a man. You know?
Yeah. It's so hard to not fall into those traps.
Yeah.
But doing stuff like that, like whether, you know, whatever, a psychedelic or a deprivation tank, there's the finish, there's the exit.
Yeah.
And that's, in my experience, anyway, that's the cue where, like, oh, things change. Like, you're not what you think you are. Like, there is something else,
Right.
you know, going forward.
Hey, you can always walk away.
Yeah.
You can
walk away.
always stop. You can always drop the weight. You know, we don't have to hang on, you know, but it's hard to learn that when we're using something that's not essentially real life, right? You know what I'm saying? Versus real life. So real life, it's hard to let go, right? Because these are habitual loops. These are the things we're programmed to believe. These are societal pressures. You know what I'm saying? Because all of us have a different angle, right? As men, we're shaped a certain way. Women are shaped a certain way. Ethnics, cultures, religions, genders. Everybody has this certain angle that comes from us as a society that shapes us to believe a certain image of ourselves, what's expected, and how everybody else is going to perceive us. A lot of times it's just not true when we get to know the real world, you know, but those things are hard to walk away from, you know, but how do you train for that resilience? How do you train for those places that you fear in real life? And to me, that's why I go across the street in the pond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go sit in the cold water. That's why I go out in the backyard and jump in 180 degrees. That's why I'm, you know, my sauna tent. That's why I'll do jujitsu now. Like I'm always trying to find a place to, I don't want to say build my resilience because I'm there, maintain it now. Right.
Yeah. You found it. Now you need to keep it.
I don't ever want to lose it. I don't ever want to lose it. I don't ever want to feel meek in a place where things that shouldn't hurt me again, or the fear of taking care of my family. Like if someone walks in my house right now to try and hurt my family, they've made a mistake as far as how easy it will be. Like I've made amends with, they could be successful, but man, it's not going to be something they can just take and walk away easily. And, you know, to get to that place, it's so calming and it feels so good. It allows me to be such a better person.
Yeah.
Right. I'm able to be just a better person, not worried about what the next person can be to me. And that's why I'm always trying to get people in cold water and this and that, people with anxiety or people dealing with stress and depression in their life. Because we get in there and it brings about a very real emotion. And that's the same thing with psychedelics. I've taken some of my veteran friends, you know, like I never went to combat. I was stateside all the time. I got friends who held men dead in their arms. Yeah. And by like 2 a.m, I'm holding hands with a grown ass man who like let himself go. And now he's realized, oh my God, he's like, I'm a crab. my last buddy, I took him, went to an Airbnb. He's a veteran, great guy. And if he sees this, he'll laugh. But I won't say his name out of just, you know, the pure sake of keeping masculine integrity, right? So, but he's a dive master. We go diving. We're dive buddies. I trust him with my life in the water. So we go out to this place and I set up this set. It's beautiful. I got the Galaxy. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're like these little astronauts. I put like a demular in the, you know, like a projector.
Oh,
so
no.
I got this thing on the ceiling. I got a steel tongue drum. And a big bag of mushrooms at an Airbnb. It's like March, it's still cold. We're right on the lake. We can jump in the water. We got old Nintendos and Segas.
Oh, hell
back.
yeah.
We got guitars. We got everything we need and a bunch of food, right? So anyway, throughout the night, we're all having fun. We're playing. And him and his buddy, my other buddy, they like heavy metal. Nice. And I'm like acid heavy metal.
Yeah.
Not my vibe when I'm on mushrooms, but they're eating more. Me, the only thing I have for structure is I'll time my last dose. I had to split on the stopwatch every time I take a dose, right? I don't want to go as deep as him. You know I'm gonna go deep.
Somebody's gonna be in control here.
Someone's gonna stay like on the base station.
The Sherpa.
If you guys are gonna stop floating around, someone's gonna have like the umbilical cords while you're floating off the space station, right? So we're going through the night, and I'm hitting the steel tongue drum every now and then. He resonates on the little 7. Cool, homing device for later. We'll keep that one, right? So we go on throughout the night, and I'm timing our doses and doing this, and they're listening to heavy metal, and they're watching fucking Nat Geo on TV. And all you see is all these crabs, dude, everywhere. Tens of thousands of crabs crawling all over. It's like big rock.
I've seen that one.
Right? But you only see like one squid, right? You only see like a couple sharks, a few seals, you know what I'm saying? Octopus. And I'm like, and all I said, this would trigger it. I said, imagine that your whole life, you're born, you're food. You're just food. You're a fucking, that's all crap. Like the reason you can be born in so many amounts and so many numbers is because you're food for everything else. Yeah. Around. There's only one of this, one of that. Dude, hit him. All of a sudden he's like, oh, he's gained a lot of weight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he's let himself go. He started, all of a sudden I see him sweating. He's like, mind you, 30 minutes before that, he goes, hey man, I just had a big mushroom cap too, like a big one. I said, oh, cool.
You're good.
hit the splitter. I was like, we'll come back to that one. So I know they're kicking in, but all of a sudden he's hung up on this. I don't want to be prey. I don't want to be prey. So long story, he's got his wife on the phone later talking to her. I love you. I'm so sorry for everything. I'm laughing my ass off, playing guitar, being calm. And I'm like, you'll be all right. She's like, you don't need an ambulance or nothing. He's fine.
He's good.
He's going to be good. He's like, I know I'm safe with Brandon. So by the end of the night, if he sees it, he's going to fucking fuck you, man. But his name is anonymous. By the end of the night, I'm holding his hand. I'm like, bro, I'm your dive buddy. Yeah. Nothing's going to go wrong, man. It's all good. But, you know, this man's been through some shit. But what you talk about is when you come home, after a while, that stuff's in the past. A lot of the stuff you got going on right now is on you. You know what I'm saying? So you are dealing with things that you've created as well. But you can't blame that stuff anymore. It's there. It's an issue. We got to cope with it. We got to recognize it. But at some point, I'm going to tell you, we have to move forward too. You know what I'm saying? So the whole night went by. I'm holding this man's hand. We do his thing. He finally falls asleep. We wake up the next day. And I was like, remember that, man. That's what I talk about is the training was a very real experience. All the emotion he felt, that was all the stuff he's been hiding behind his narcissism and shit like that, trying to project, and I'm fine, you know, get in trouble at work, get in trouble at home, letting his body go, drink, you know what I'm saying? All these things we hide from ourselves in the psychedelic or the cold water, the sensory deprivation tanks. They bring forth a very real experience where you can't say, oh, I was too drunk to remember. Yeah. When have you ever forgot anything that happened on mushrooms or psychedelics? Yeah. Never. I can go back 25 years, 16 years old, and tell you every detail of a bad acid trip that went on the next night. As embarrassing it is, I remember it vividly to this day. Yeah. So as I said, like I like to create very real experiences to the best we can mimic. You got cancer. Or you fucking, you know, your baby's not going to make it. You know what I mean? It's happened to my wife and I. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? In the delivery room. So those moments, there's no way to accurately prepare for. The
Yeah.
best we can do is these things you said. There's an end result, right? You can learn that. Hey, I can jump out of this and fine. Some life situations we can't jump out of. You know what I'm saying? Others we got to learn to let go. And that's where like all that training comes in. You know what I mean? Like you do jujitsu, right?
Yeah.
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 So you challenge yourself. You know what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
know? Were you blue belt?
Blue belt. Yeah.
Ah, trying to get there. Trying to get there.
How was the, I know, it's combat, right?
Yeah.
It's different
Mhm.
combat for sure. How was the sort of transition from boxing to jujitsu for you? Were you nervous going in at first, or were you
No, no,
like,
no.
I'm
Yeah.
just ready? Like I see it, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
going.
Honestly, I think it hurt me a little bit in the competition. I was too relaxed.
Yeah.
And what I mean is I stayed up all night working the night shift. I didn't take the night off. You know what I'm saying? I didn't try to cut any weight. I just wanted at 195, like, yeah, whatever. I'm doing really well in the gym, against guys my level.
Mhm.
Uh, and I went in at first. The first match I got disqualified. I guess I slammed the guy. I embellished a little bit. I picked him up. He was hanging on. I dropped
Yeah,
down.
totally.
Got disqualified. Second guy was like me. He was kind of like a bulldog. He was a tank, and he was trying to sweep me, take me all over. Couldn't get me off my feet. Threw me into the TV. I had to stop the match real quick, fix the TV.
Oh,
And I remember this guy, we broke the TV. He's like, I'm going to break another one. Like,
yeah.
he was in it. Like he was
Yeah,
like
he's ready.
where I used to be for fighting. You could tell he was. I just kind of chuckled. I was like, oh, you're a feisty one. And he just looked at me weird, like because it didn't like throw me off. I guess I don't know, like because I told him he was feisty. But I went to sweep him, and like sometimes you'll collar drag somebody, right, and then you'll sweep him over your foot. Once versus he had two grips versus a collar drag, I swept him towards his arm.
Yeah.
So instead of I couldn't pull him
Did
down.
you guys just spin?
I pulled him right on top of me.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I couldn't pull him deep enough because I didn't collar drag him where I could really get his head over his feet. I kind of pulled him by his sleeve. He had two grips, pulled him on top of me, and he was able to just maintain control. Right.
Yeah.
He had me in mount once I got out. Then he had me in side mount. Then I got out, half mount or whatever, the side mount, right? Then I got out. Then he had me I call it the taint guard, north-south.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Rectum just in your face.
Yep.
Had me in that called the taint guard. I hate it. And I'm just staring at your butthole. It's great.
Yeah.
But I get out of that. But every time I get out, he get in something else. He's just racking up points. So by the time the round finished, I needed like a submission.
Yeah, you make those transitions when you're on top in a competition. You got to, if you're the person on the bottom, it's like you got no choice but to finish because it's
you're
so far behind very quickly
on top, right? Or I gotta submit him. So every time he made a different pass and I get out, he was. I looked over, like, it's like 19-0.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But yeah, it was cool. It was the first experience. My son did one. He won 1 out of 4 matches, so he technically has more wins.
Nice. I'm sure he doesn't let you know about that or anything. When I started doing jujitsu, I was a month in, and a buddy of mine got me. Actually, it was right after when we were talking about like the boat earlier. Yeah. But my brother-in-law's best friend, he was like, "Just come." He was like, "Come try a class." Blah blah blah. Because he works at the marina where the boat is. So I was like, all right, I'll go. And then I, started going. And a month in, he was like, "Oh, I'm doing a competition." And in my head, I'm like, "You got me to come here, and I'm doing this because I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I can't know that you're going to compete at something without me now."
Right.
So I signed up for the competition. I was a month in, and it just so happened that I was in really good shape at that time. I was running, probably close to 3 miles a day. And there was a playground right near my house where they had an adult sort of like CrossFit jungle gym style thing. Yeah. So I'm racking up pull-ups every day. I'm in like full out, like, let's go mode, like back in like football day shape mode. Yeah. And I had a great first competition. I ended up getting 3rd place, but the first dude I smoked. Second dude, it was very competitive. And then, but I lost. And then I had to just go against the guy that I beat the first round. So I only had 3 matches, like a 2 out of 3. Yeah. I was a little mad because I thought I should have went against the one of the other guys in our bracket to compete for second.
Yeah.
But I never got that chance to do that. And then the second tournament I did was a submission tournament. So you had to finish to win. And I did get the gold medal, but I don't like to even like talk about it because there was only one guy in my bracket.
Yeah, whatever.
So I had to go against him twice.
Yeah, best out of 3.
Yeah,
right?
best out of 3. I beat him
Good
twice.
for you.
And so I got a gold medal, but technically I feel like it's cheating because I didn't, get to.
I took 3rd of mine.
Yeah.
3 people.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Still 3rd. Yeah.
That's cool though.
I did one other competition, and similar to what you were talking about, at the time, my uncle, who was a big part of my life growing up, I worked for him my whole life, growing up his construction company, like, bricklaying, general contracting, stuff like that. And he was dying at the time, cancer. So he was hospice in his house. So we were taking, shifts, staying there with him. And I was there the whole night. Not that it came pretty quick. We weren't necessarily expecting it. And I told myself, I'm going to be fine. Like, I'm going to go and I'm going to use that as inspiration at the competition. I got there and I just felt unprepared.
Yeah.
I didn't realize at the time I was unprepared. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Well, you've seen Rocky a few times.
Yeah, exactly. I had
up all night.
I was motivationally prepared, but I wasn't prepared.
Yes.
And no excuses. But I got there. Unfortunately, I only had one match, and I got smoked. Like the dude, my coach too, Tim. He was at the one of the coaches that was in my corner. He told me right before his side, he goes, "This kid's a wrestler. He's gonna try to take you down right away. Like get whatever tips." And the very first thing I did was hesitate. He ankle picked me, got on top of me, and before you know it, he's at like 24 points.
Wrestlers are tough, dude. They're tough.
But I did revert, and it was only a 4-minute match, which also stunk because I felt like I knew he was getting tired.
Can make a big difference.
Yeah, he was getting super tired. Yeah. I got on top, but I was in his guard. He's breathing heavy. I'm feeling like
you need a submission.
Whatever.
An extra minute would help.
Yeah. So I kind of just did it's a competition, so it's not a dick move, but I just sort of leaned on him, had the old forearm in his throat just to prove a point.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
I would have got you.
Would have got you, man, but clearly didn't.
Right.
And, but dude, I love, we say, I think I said this to you too, like the only people that lost are the ones that didn't compete that day. You know, it's like you're getting out there, you're doing the same thing everybody else is trying to do. You're trying to feel maybe some kind of rush. You're just trying to feel like the best version of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I equate it to I feel like, and I can only speak for the culture I've grown up in, right? I feel like in a way, as a human, as a species, and as what I know history tells me, have been domesticated a little bit, right? Almost like shaped into this little conforming pressure. You need to conform. There's a certain image you need to have. And if you don't have that, you're not a man. And it's but at the same time, men have been able to conquer cities, countries, empires, you know what I'm saying, through their ability to be a little bit vicious, right? And I believe that it's a suppressed kind of gene a little bit. It's a genetic trait that I think look at the kids in the playground.
Yeah.
Right. I watched my kid after school in the playground. And over the years, and I'm friends with all the moms, you know what I'm saying, and the kids. And I play soccer all summer long with the kids. I show up, people think it's like a program. So I know all these kids. They're like, how do you got a kid get on? Dude, just grab a jersey. I got penny jerseys and I got 2 6x4 nets. You know what I'm saying? And I call it mosh pit soccer. And we just go. Dude, I'm talking kindergartners up to 5th grade.
Banging it out.
Just a mob chasing a ball, right? So we have a fun time. So I know all the kids. Over the years, though, when it started at the first, where it was just kindergarten, 1st grade school, the first couple of years, Isaiah's growing up in a boxing gym, my son. And he knows how to punch a little bit, but I've never raised him to be an aggressive kid. Physical, but not aggressive, not mean. We don't punch people. We don't do this. We don't do that. So kids used to actually some kids have a little bit of emotional control. Their parents are, they're helping them. They're getting, whatever they need to get.
It's that age.
They're good kids, though. They're not wrong kids. These are young boys that just have that. It's he has this. It's no, he don't. He has the genes in his body that all us men do that just ain't been domesticated as much as the rest.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Don't give me this kid needs this or that. What he needs is discipline. He needs a place where they can go learn structured discipline. So I put my kid in jujitsu. Once I get over, when I shut my gym down, I went over to the gym I'm at now, and I got him right in jujitsu. I've always been friends with this gym, so it was great that I ended up there. We're both taking jujitsu. Now, from like last year to this year, the confidence level in my son with jujitsu, because none of these kids know how to. I don't want to
The
punch
little
people
kids,
anyway.
yeah.
They're shoving, they're grabbing, they're wrestling, they're throwing each other. They'll grab you by your hoodie and yank you down. So now I sit on the playground. It's funny because the playground's all like nerfed now, like that
Yeah.
spongy stuff. And in a world where we're trying to tell kids not to shove and push, they've got a mound for like King of the Hill in the middle of this playground. So after school, they're all pent up, sitting all day. Where do you think all the boys go? All the boys gravitate to this little mound and they're shoving and they're throwing each other around. They're ripping each other up. And now the same kids that used to really yoke Isaiah up, dude, he gets on his back. They think they got him.
Yep.
On their back. And I don't even say nothing. I look up one parent that day, hey, one kid, he punched a kid right in the face. I look up, Isaiah's got him on his back. Isaiah. He looks up. I said, no, around the neck, no arm bars. Okay.
Yeah.
You all right? Yeah, I'm fine. And he
control, no finish.
But he's so, yeah, right. Don't choke. So, an incident happened actually was today, and I'm real good friends with the mom. Her kid's a good kid, again, real hyper, but he doesn't have that control like Isaiah's been exposed to.
Yeah.
So they're wrestling, they're going really hard at it. They're going really hard. And Isaiah keeps obviously turning them, getting on his back and pinning them and like no chokeholds. But eventually now this kid's got his arms around Isaiah's neck and he's squeezing real tight.
Yeah.
And mom's trying to tell him to stop because the kid's lost his control a little bit. He doesn't mean to be malicious. It's
reactive.
It's in our genetics, man. Good for him. We just need to teach him how to focus it, right? I keep telling him, dude, I'll pay for your kid to go to jiu-jitsu. Just take him. He needs it. It's going to be awesome for him. So, but the kid gets up and, he's crying. He's upset a little bit. I'm like, hey, dude, come over here, buddy. I'm talking by his name. I know I play soccer with you. Come here, man. Look at me so I know you're looking. I said, I know your mom wants you to stop. I didn't say nothing because I know Isaiah can handle it. I said, but if you're choking around his neck and when he gets, I love having that confidence. When he gets out of it, because he knows how to, you can't expect me to then tell him not to kind of humble you a little bit, buddy.
Yeah.
If he puts his arms around your neck to teach you a lesson, you know what I'm saying? How are you going to feel then? You're upset right now just because you guys had it. I was like, imagine if he does choke you. I said, I'm not mad at you, but you need to listen to your mother for one. Just be shoving at his mom. I'm saying, great kid though.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between what is naturally in us. He just naturally has that aggression level, and bringing it out of someone like my son and putting him in a controlled environment to learn it. So I tell people, it's like, I feel like we ask these kids to go sit all day. Don't touch, keep your hands off. Don't play too rough. Oh, now you need help. You need services. Like maybe we just need to make it productive, scheduled adversity and organized violence.
Yeah.
Acceptable again. Just a little organized violence. And jiu-jitsu doesn't involve punches and head trauma. It's just chokeholds.
It's the best way to do it.
And it's crazy. When I talk to parents, I'm like, I'm a boxer who teaches kids how to box. That's how I make my money. Put your kid in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how much I've seen it do for my son. But again, that's what I say. Like, when we're all out there, we're grown men. We're still searching. Why? I don't think the search ever dies.
Yeah.
I think we're always looking for that next level. If it's not jiu-jitsu, it's my guitar. It's ultra running. I did ultra running for a while. Why? Because I just wanted to know how much pain I could take. So I ran 100 miles in 27 hours. You know what I mean? I was like, can I do it? It gets to that point where at some point you're like, all right, man, we can do a lot. Now let's just it's no longer finding out what can I do. So what can I? Where's the ceiling? You know what I'm saying? Where's the ceiling for where I'm at in my life and in my age with the damage I've already got, because, you obviously body, is going to not recover all the way at a certain time. And I think it's so imperative for us I'm not going to say, I don't want to speak for women, you know what I'm saying? But as men, especially because I'm living in this body, to just undomesticate just a little bit.
A little bit. Little tiny bit.
Yeah, man, just a little bit. I think Jordan Peterson talks about that, right? A man should be capable of violence. It's necessary. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've ever watched Jordan Peterson.
A little bit. Yeah, I see I watch the clips.
But I don't. I see it as a truth because I know now in my life, and I know I'm getting long-winded on a topic, but like I've never been in a better place of mindfulness, calmness, with the ability to respond versus react I've never been this adept at those attributes of my life, while simultaneously being, as humbly speaking, capable of violence as I am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
It's like your wisdom, and now with there's something about like grappling where like
it's prime.
It brings it all together. It's like you can't think about anything else when there's a 200-pound dude, or maybe even like 120-pound dude. If they're good,
about 130-pound guy more than anybody else in the gym, man.
Yeah.
It's humbling as hell.
Yeah, it's like you can't when they're on your back, or you know, I find it worse for my ego when there's one black belt at our gym I'm thinking of, but he can't weigh more than 140, 150 pounds. But if I get on to my back, if I'm on my back, I'm not getting him off me. And I'm not getting out of there.
And so if I'm in his guard, I can't get up.
Yeah.
130-pound man, I go to stand up, snaps him back down every time.
Yeah.
I've literally he's folded me up so many times. He's 130 pounds.
Yeah.
What am I going to say?
Like a folded chair. It's like,
what am I going to say? I got 50 pounds on you and I'm a former professional fighter. Like, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's a purple belt.
It's like I'm going to say, teach me.
Yeah, I go right at him. And that's the thing. And I'm not going at him easy. I don't go at anybody that's a higher belt than me.
Yeah,
I work a lot. I find myself a lot of times working with other white belts. That's one thing I can say that the boxing has helped. And it's not because necessarily I'm more skilled than them. They actually have the technique down more and all that. I just have the physicality and the psychology more. Like I don't get rattled as easy from all the fighting, and I'm learning the art, right? So I had a little experience with like Israeli self-defense, like, so
in the Marines.
That was Marine Corps martial arts program.
Yeah.
But I did some stuff time for a while, which was more, it was like Krav Maga-esque, but he turned it into his own art. So it was a lot of arm bars and stuff like that, and certain takedowns and chokeholds. So I'm very adept for a white belt at seeing and visualizing arm bars and certain Americanas, and obviously as a trainer, joint manipulation. If I can make a hip go a direction, even if it's not a perfect move, I'm going to torque that thing that way, right? So it's helped me a lot. But when it starts getting to be like blue belt that got like 3 or 4 stripes, and on up, I go right at them. Like, I'm not going to complain. I know when to tap. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
It's happening. You got to do it.
But if I can shake him real quick, it's like I almost had you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, and what I mean, almost had you, man. Almost had you thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've had a few guys in positions where I was in an arm bar position, they were able to hang on. You know what I'm saying? Or guys that are out of shape, that are higher belts than me. If I can get through the first 3.5 minutes, like you're talking about with that wrestler, you know what I mean? If I get through the first 3.5 minutes, if I can at least make a purple belt sometimes just uncomfortable real quick. You got to turn him up. He's got to turn him up a little bit. Or he's got to sprawl real fast to try and get his ground back. I'll smile to myself. You know what I'm saying? But it's such a humbling art. It is. I truly respect it so much, because it's where you can really see a small person be mighty against a large. It's like truly like David and Goliath can happen. And you don't see that as much in in a striking art per se, where you can just block the shots and the kicks, and you know what I'm saying, in the weight classes. Like to see it in the gym, to see a 130-pound guy just climb up one side of a 190-pound guy, down the other side of his arm, and he's tapping and that I'm talking about. That's happened to me. Most of the smaller guys have submitted me more.
Yeah, I have a harder time with smaller guys than me too, for whatever reason. It's sometimes hard to get a hold of them.
Yeah, they're slippery. You can almost, and with a gi, you can slow a bigger guy down a little bit easier because he's right there in front of you. Yeah. But man, it's a humbling art. I definitely enjoy it.
Now, we were talking about this earlier too. You mentioned, can you tell me a little bit more about diving and how you got into diving?
Oh yeah, so scuba diving, right? So essentially how that happened, there's a lot of veteran programs. Massachusetts is great with like veteran programs. Like a lot of people complain about the VA. But there's a lot of nonprofits out there. So a buddy of mine I served with, he fell in a different path over time. He had some struggles with addiction and stuff like that. And he fell into a dive group. He got a diving certification. They broke off, started their own dive group called Operation Blue Pride. They call it Diving for Inner Peace. It's all veteran owned, veteran ran. And it hooked him. He was finding that just peace with it, and he became a dive master fast. Like it was like his new addiction, right? Which is great. I think that's what happens a lot with people. They get sober and they find something else they latch onto. And he was like, "Dude, you gotta come diving. I'm like, we can't really go have a drink anymore. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm not gonna go to the bar with you. Right? I've
I
been
want to
sober
go in
for
the
a while.
water.
I was
Yeah.
like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I'll go hang out on the water. So I jumped in with Operation Blue Pride was who I got certified through. That was who they originally were with. And then they broke off and they started what's called TRP. I switched over to TRP because they all won from Operation Blue Pride. They started their own called Tactical Reintegration Project. And yeah, I'm still recreational diver. You know, I've got a
Yeah.
bunch of dives. I've dove in other countries, you know, everything from Antigua to Jamaica and stuff like that. When I go visit now, I try to get a dive in,
Yeah.
right? Um, so yeah, I just go dive with a group of veterans, you know, throughout the summer. It's cool because it's a group on Facebook. You can literally like, hey man, anybody want to go to Gloucester and dive Folly Cove, and you'll have like 30 people show up.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of vets. You know
It freaks me out around here because the water's so murky. I'm like,
there's a saying: if you can dive in Mass, you can dive anywhere.
Yeah.
And so far, that's proven very accurate.
really?
I've had zero issues diving anywhere else in the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? After diving in Massachusetts, just even some of the entry points with the rock, you know, ledges and stuff like that. But what's real fun is so you take a bunch of just knucklehead Marines and we get on my buddy's boat, all listening to death metal, cruising out to like where all the lobster are. And it's like, all right, we got a lobster insurgent guys giving you a situation report. And you know what I'm saying? We all break up into groups and we'll go down with like dive. We got all a lobster license and we go down. You don't mess with the traps because
you can't
people,
do that.
they'll shoot you.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't, one guy stays on a boat and usually has a firearm with him because crab lobstermen will come around and if they see dive fly, dude, I've heard stories about them messing with your boat, like, you know, pulling on your fucking dive flag, like, you know, stuff like that. But they're everywhere down there. So you don't need to pull from the crab trap. Why would you? The lobster traps. But and some of these guys are crazy, man. You get these little tickle sticks, you go down there and you try to, you know, tease them to come out. You know what I'm saying? From one of the little caves.
Because lobsters, they'll burrow into a little cave backwards, right?
Backwards. So, but some of them, like that guy I was telling you earlier with the mushroom trip, he's a crazy bastard. Like he literally, you'll just see him like elbow, armpit deep, dude, up and he'll see, I'm talking up there and just pull that thing right out, dude. I'm talking claws are freaking snap. I'm like, dude, cut your finger off.
Yeah.
Absolute nut, dude. But he'll catch like 20 crabs every time.
Yeah, you gotta like push him, right? You like push him, you like push their crab there.
He goes right in, grabs him, and yanks him out. I don't do that shit, man. I want my fingers, man.
Yeah.
You know, I play guitar, dude.
Like I need this.
Those things are vicious. Even the little ones, man. They get you, they hurt.
Yeah.
So but you know, you get these things called tickle sticks. They can only be a certain length. And you kind of like come around, you try to poke them out. Or like every now and then you flip over a rock, you can catch one real quick. Or if you wait, like you kind of wait above and they don't see you, they'll slowly make their way up. So it's a fine balance, but like 10 of us will go down, you know, sometimes, but usually he gets about 6. He can fit 8 on his boat. That's tight.
Yeah.
It's not too big of a boat. And we'll come back, he'll steam them right there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Docks, dude, and divvy them up. You know, you take lobster home, fresh lobster to the family. So
what's the max step that you've gone?
Well, I can go 60 feet.
Is that the recreational
dive? Yeah. So 60 feet. I mean, I've been 65, 70 feet. Like, it's not like no one can stop you.
Yeah.
Problem is like you need to start having different air mix with like nitrogen. You have to have you go get your nitrox certification. If you're going below 60 feet, you want to have nitrogen inside your oxygen tank. So they kind of like balances out.
Yeah. So you get like bends and stuff like that.
Yeah, you get real careful with that type of stuff. So this year I plan on getting my my nitrox certification, and I am an EMT too. But I don't want to get in an ambulance, so I'm gonna start investigating, I guess, EMT divers.
Oh, cool.
So I want to start slowly. I got all my gear finally. I have like everything, tanks and all that. I want to start working towards becoming a dive master.
That's sick. Like just incorporating like a skill you have with something you love. It seems like that's like something you're really good at.
Great way to make. It's pretty much, you know, it's funny. I like to make money with things I enjoy.
Yeah.
I definitely do. But I do have a job that I just do because it's easy. I do an armed security job because that just pays the bills, right? But it's only 3 12-hour shifts a week.
Yeah.
But I'd love to do, like, you can literally get like, so underwater welders a lot of times, like it's state to state, they have to have an EMT on site.
Oh,
and usually
okay.
An EMT should be able to dive.
Yeah.
So an EMT diver, I could go sit and make like, I don't know, like $50 an hour sitting on a dock, waiting for shit to go wrong, and then go, you know, perform rescue if need be. But there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. There's search and rescue courses I want to get into, like up in New Hampshire and stuff you need to be an EMT for. But as well as I'm on the fire department list. Like, so all that stuff. I'm just kind of waiting to see
Yeah.
if
Letting
my
it play
town
out.
wants to hire a 44, almost 45-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm number 4 on the list for my town, and we'll see what I'm on the list for another year. I won't retake the list or tests or anything like that, just because like at that point I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I'm 47, 48. I'm like, guys, no,
Yeah.
not really. Unless you're looking for a trainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go work at the station and train some guys. But
yeah. My we're starting, I think, in 2 weeks or whenever the next class is over. We're starting my son for his first like swim lessons.
nice.
My wife is she was a lifeguard. She was a lifeguard at Cranes Beach in Ipswich growing up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she used to do swim lessons and teach swim lessons. So she's super pumped to get him in the water
Yeah,
and
man.
like get him going.
Does
But
he like it?
I mean, he loves the bathtub,
Okay.
and we take him out on the boat too, and he loves it. He last season he was still pretty small,
Right.
but he's out there with his cousins who they also have a boat. So we'll find a sandbar, and
Yeah.
we all meet up. There's usually like a ton of people from all over that, they all know the sandbars in that area, like
Yeah.
Plum Island, and so he loves the environment of being around other kids. No iPads around, no
Yeah, man.
phones.
It's
Like
funny how
everybody's
quickly they
running
forget
around.
about that stuff.
Oh my god, it's amazing. It's having a boat is aside from there's always the boat stands for bust out another 1,000, which is correct.
Right.
It's it can be a pain in some instances, but it's being able to have some sort of place for him to go
Yeah.
where he can just be with nature and be with other kids also enjoying there's a little crab right there. There's a fish one. It's the best thing ever. Exactly. Like how can you have fun all day digging a hole in the sand, but somehow you do.
I'm a grown man, and when we hit the beach,
Don't get me a pail and a shovel.
Dude, that's right where I am. Man. We're out digging holes all day. No, I love that. Because it's with me and Isaiah, it's on a boat. I got a canoe.
Yeah,
and we take about 300-400 pounds of unnecessary amount of gear. We go down Ipswich.
Yeah,
and you can rent. I don't know if you've ever heard of Foot Brothers, but you can rent canoes and kayaks from them.
Maybe
right in Ipswich.
I've probably seen it. I've probably driven by.
Ipswich River, and they own an island in the middle of the bird sanctuary.
Oh,
she was 3.5. I've been taking them out there camping on that thing. You get the whole island. They have 2 campsites. So I rent them both. It's like $30 a night. So I get the whole island to myself. And we go out there. I go out there and camp, got a 4-season tent, wood stove. At night I put a floodlight up. We plink away with a 22. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're walking around mushroom hunting and, doing like little, kind of got the mushroom books and the insect books. And we spend days out there.
Just foraging and loving life.
He's at the age now where, he likes his video games. You know what I mean? When they get to 8, 9, they want to.
Yeah, you bring a Switch, you go back, do it in the tent later that night.
I told him, man, he bought it. I told him, if you did a jiu-jitsu tournament, you have a Switch. He did a jiu-jitsu tournament, so he's got one.
Yeah,
so now he can bring you and that's what's cool about out there. It's his service.
Yeah.
So I hooked the hotspot up. He can play online. You know what I'm saying? Literally, because I'll do it with him when I work night shift on the weekends. That's why I love security, man. I'm just sitting in a car. I got nothing going on for like 3 hours because if I'm done, I do these certain buildings. Then I'm just waiting for bank alarms. I have a little travel guitar. I bring the Switch. I hook my hotspot up. I get on. I play with him a couple games. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to meet kids where they're at sometimes. You can't force everything. You know what I mean? And right now where he's at, if you listen, you can hear him right now.
Oh yeah, I can hear. He's loving it.
Knee deep. He's smoking the whole pack of Fortnite tonight. But he's earned that because in school, that's a privilege. That's not a right.
Yeah.
So if he does good in school, he gets good grades. He doesn't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? He gets on the weekends. Gets to play a little bit on Wednesdays, half a day, play for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Get a little puff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little fix.
Get you Jones.
But then come Friday, Saturday night, dude. That's what you want to do for the weekend. Like you will take jujitsu twice a week. After school, he runs a quarter mile. We're playing soccer after school throughout the summertime. You're gonna play around on the park. If we're not playing soccer, you're gonna be active. We're not sitting around eating, fudge cakes and playing, it's not happening. So he can lose that. So it's a great reward system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we go out, we go camping. Yeah, bring your Switch, dude. Because at some point, right, he wants to go in there and he wants to be on a Switch. I want to sit out and have a bourbon.
Yeah,
hang out by the
fire.
He's doing what he wants to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the stars. Maybe I eat a chocolate bar or something.
Yeah.
I'm playing my guitar. We're both happy. We're both doing what we
Yeah.
want to do. Like, but again, look what's around us, dude. You hear coyotes in the distance.
Yeah.
We get out in the canoe at night, go out with the floodlight, watch beaver mess around the dams and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a really good time out there. You get eaten up by the skeeters, but you know what I'm saying?
Dude, I got so I've been like really anal about it, but I messed up so bad. We're on the backside of Plum Island, tide's going down. And so where we were anchored up, you got about 50 yards of a plateau. So you got to set your anchor pretty far out. And as the tide's going out, like, you're constantly,
Right.
pushing out. And I was like, oh, I'm good. I've done this like 20 times. Like I know exactly like where I'm at. But it just so happened like where I was kind of over, there was a little bit of a sandbank.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to push out, and all of a sudden I'm like,
Oh no.
no, no. And then I'm like, I'm putting the shoulder in. I call Jake. She's put some other boat, and that's sort of like the culture. If you see somebody else, like you go out there and you help.
Distress for sure.
Yeah. And I just couldn't make it, so I was grounded. So, Jamie went home with. There was another boat out there. They took her and Vinny out to, back to where we were parked, and they went home that night. And I'm just like,
you had to sit there with the top.
yeah, because
come back.
This is about maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, dead low tide. So I got to wait till it comes all the way up past that sandbar till I can get out. And luckily, my brother-in-law came and his buddy, of course, ribboned me a little bit, but they came out and they brought me a, they had like one of those, it's not a jack box, but like a little like solar generator. So I could like make sure my phone was charged, make sure I could,
Did they
communicate if I need to. Oh yeah, we had a couple beers and then they took off. But so I'm on the backside of Plum Island where nobody's around, and I'm outside. I'm just checking out, like having a great time. Oh, some bugs, but just watch the stars. And I got my floodlight, scoping around, seeing like all these coyote eyes just like right off the shore. I'm like, oh boy. So I chilled in the boat, and then a storm rolled in. Tide came up, and I've never had to more like go up to a mooring, but I was thinking, because it was getting really rocky and rainy, I was like, I either got to drive back in, which I haven't really had to navigate this channel in a bad storm, or pull up to a mooring. So I went to the mooring because it was early in the season and nobody was at those spots, so I knew I could get away with it. Like it'd be fine.
Well, I guess in a circumstance like that, no one's going to give you too much.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd be gone before anybody ever got there anyway. But I couldn't get it. I had never done it before, and I'm not near my controls, and I'm still trying to get. I'm trying to use my hook to get it. A new thing that I've never done, and I was like, you know what? I just got to go. I got to take it in. So it's not bad. It's like a 40-minute ride, but. Super slow, no visibility. I'm like, I got the floodlight. Every single marker I hit, like every red buoy I hit, felt like I just hit $1 million on the lottery. It's like I'm like, holy shit! Right, I know it was scary. It was probably the best thing, realistically. Pretty like safe. The max depth there is probably like 25, 30 feet, and I'm still close to land on either side. It's a channel. So I'd be able to, with my life jacket on, get to wherever, but I don't want to lose the boat. Well, it's like,
that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. But it was like, oh boy. And I made it fine, no issues, and then just slept the rest of the night on the boat. Was so happy the next morning. I'm like, all right, come pick me up. I'm just like crammed. It's not a big boat or a luxurious boat. I'm just like, crammed in there, freezing. They brought me a sleeping bag too, so that helped. But
it's just like, again though, it's like those type of things, like you can't duplicate that experience and what it can do for you though. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes like real life situations, they call upon, you know what I'm saying, things out of you that you wouldn't necessarily even think you need to have in you. You know what I'm saying? So imagine like being a person that like never worked with his hands, never did jujitsu, never had to be competent in some sort of physical ability and now it's your first time in a boat with a situation like that. Like, I dare say that it probably wouldn't have had the same outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to navigate that. So it's like you're bearing, it's a martial art, right? Who is it? Miyamoto Musashi talks about in his book of Five Rings, if you ever read it, where and right in the back is like a quote where it says that most people think martial arts are applicable in real life situations, when in fact they should be taught to be useful in all situations, right? And I think when people think martial arts, they think like, oh, it's just a combat, it's just a fighting thing. No, like carpentry is a martial art, right? What wood is used for what? The strong woods aren't the pretty woods.
Yeah.
But they're the ones underneath holding the house up, the soft pines, the things that you can, a superintendent knowing how to use all their employees the way they're supposed to use them on a job site, who's good at what? That's a martial art. Sailing, boating is a martial art. Yeah. Knowing the tides, when they go in, when they go out, how to navigate the seas, how to work with currents, how to tell where you're at night, how to navigate, you know what I'm saying? Think what people did without GPS. You know what I'm saying? No floodlights. Imagine being a captain with a lantern in the 1800s. Like,
no lights at all.
You know what I'm saying?
No GPS, no Garmin.
Crow's nest, So it's like we did that shit though. Like our ancestors did that. And now we struggle, right? Think about the parallel of struggling a little channel 80 feet offshore with all the technology in the world.
Yeah.
Now that's relative, an accomplished feat. And in my mind was only capable because of what I know of you. The bearing you have to at least stay that vigilant, to make those decisions at the right time, but also know that if that boat does sink, I can make it to shore.
Yeah.
But not take advantage of it, because that shore can be really slippery when you get there. Like I've gone in to do dives off of like certain places like in Gloucester. Dude, it's hard to get out later.
Yeah.
You're getting smacked against rocks, you're trying to crawl, it's slippery, you're falling back down in, and you get a time like the wave throwing you up on and then scramble to get to something dry. You can grab a hold.
You can get your foot stuck in a rock and gloss so easily.
Yeah,
and then you ain't getting out.
we go diving off Magnolia Rock area, and it's not an easy entry.
Yeah.
It can be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Depending on when you hit it. So, all those things, it's just such an art form. And I think that they all bleed together. And that's why, again, when I talk about that, like domestication process, right? To be a little bit rudimentary and tough, to be resilient, but at the same time, educated, right?
Yeah.
We can have the best of both worlds. I tell, there's like academics and practitioners. You know what I'm saying? Like an academic is great. Having all the knowledge in the world is awesome. But if you never put it in practical application, you know what I'm saying? Like how useful could you really be unless like we're sitting in the airport right now, we're having drinks. This guy's over here getting hammered. You know everything there is about aviation. You've studied it. You read every book. You build model airplanes. You fucking know how to fly. It's awesome. Storm's coming in though. We're on an island. We got to evacuate. I don't know, but I've been buying this guy shots all night long. He's shit-faced now, but he's got about 1,500 hours of flying. We got to fly. One of you two motherfuckers got to fly that plane. Who do you think I'm putting behind the sticks? You know what I'm saying? Let's go. You need another drink? You know what I'm saying? I'm taking this guy because I know that Sherpa's been up the mountain. I know he's flown off this island a bunch of times. You know what I'm saying? So drunk and not, you can watch. Yeah, just keep it on the gauges. You co-pilot. He's got the sticks, And that's what I mean, like that fine balance, man. Like let's be articulate, let's be educated, but
gotta live it.
Gotta punch a pit bull puppy in the face every now and then.
Yeah.
You just want to know who boss is around the house. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to do it, So I it's awesome that you were able to navigate that and make those split-second decisions. You know what I'm saying?
It's scary. It is. It's scary. It's like, how do you decide, is it better to do something or is it better to do nothing? Am I safer if I sit and wait, or do I need to make a decision? The chances of something going bad doing nothing versus chances of something going bad doing something. And you never know. You just make the decision, you go, and then that's it. Everything else is gone. You just keep going.
Well, you'll know soon enough, right? It's there's like a military kind of like why, like what do you call them, like story, you know what I'm saying? There was a general talking to his lieutenants. They had two choices to make: enemies this way, enemies that way. They have to have a plan. General said, going this way. Lieutenant's like, well, how do you know, sir? Like, that's right. He's like, sooner we get started, soon we'll find out.
Yeah.
We sit there, we're dead. Both are coming, right? We got to pick a direction. So it's like sometimes making the decision, you know what I'm saying, that might be the lesser, of two evils, or maybe it could even be the less. Like, for example, you could be lost in the middle of the woods and you've seen it a million times, come across railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Railroad tracks. You pick a direction, start walking, dude. You could walk for days and not come to nothing.
Forever.
Could have been a convenience store a mile through the woods
Yeah.
that way. So, obviously having a lay of the land, understanding where you're at, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is very important, having a plan, but, being able to make, educated decisions based off the wisdom and the experience, of living life. Like if we don't get out there and live it, you know what I'm saying? We might not make the right decision in the time,
Yeah.
So you went with what you knew would work. It was just going to be like, I need
to do it.
I need to be locked in
yeah.
to get this done, but I know I can do this. You know what I'm saying? So that's all.
And as far as like growing from it too, I now feel like I have a different confidence level. Not that I want to be in a situation like that, but the things that are easier to do that I still maybe stressed out a little bit about, I'm not like stressing about those things. I feel a little bit more confident with that. It's just, that sort of stress makes you grow. Just like, not that I know much about like growing other plant, like I know how to grow a pot plant, a marijuana plant. And you clone it, you bend it, you give it stress, it has a big bud. You don't do that, the buds are not good.
Absolutely. Now I know how to know that.
Yeah.
But it's true. You know what I'm saying? The experience is like the experience is the greatest teacher. I'm big on, like, again, I read a lot of philosophy and stuff. And there was one about a rose, and it says, for example, you've never seen a rose, right? Saying, we're after Earth, right? Yeah. You and I are sitting around the ruins of a nuclear fallout. I'm talking about a rose. You've never seen one. You weren't born there. And I'm telling you everything about a rose, man, from the smell of its petals and the softness the petals have, and the prickliness of the thorn, like it's a soft and hard of the rose. You'd be like, it's cool. Rose sounds like it's pretty awesome. But if I give you one and you can experience it, you can be like, fuck, prick your finger with it. You can feel the softness of the petals and experience the contrast that a rose has to offer. You know what I'm saying? Of the danger as well as the softness of it, the elegance. You get a much more appreciation for the rose, right? And I feel like that's kind of like life's experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like the more we live these experiences, the more appreciation we have for them, what they could be. Like, damn well, I guarantee you don't get stuck on a sand dune, at least that sand dune.
Not that one.
At least that sand dune a second time. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you wouldn't truly get that appreciation had you not been through that experience.
Yeah. When you're training, are you sort of, do you ever get that weird feeling like I want to be fighting?
Oh, like you mean to this day?
Yeah.
Like me now? No. Yeah, no, not at all. I still spar, I still box with the young guys and stuff. I got a lot of nerve damage in my elbows now. So now it's like I used to fight like this, but I Philly shell now a lot and kind of just make guys miss and help with the amateurs. No, I don't. This is the kicker, is like I hate fighting.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Never liked it. I grew up around violence. I don't like violence. I can't stand violence. But that was what was holding me back in life from really kind of actualizing my potential and being in a place where I was the most confident, compassionate human being I'm capable of being. I'm not saying I'm this fucking all sainthood, never lose control of my emotions guy. You know what I'm saying? But in order for me to be the man I wanted to be, I had to get over the fear of violence. And that's literally why I got into boxing. It served the purpose of my business and promotion, stuff like that. That was a side effect of me going on this journey of being like, I got to get the bitch out in order to be a better man. You know what I'm saying? So when it was a burden. It was heavy. And now it was addictive. I've done a lot of drugs. You know what I'm saying? And I can say that a crazy fight is a trip. Like, it's like, holy fuck, win or lose, it's like, what the fuck was that? You know what I'm saying? So it gets addictive. And it also, like, where I was fortunate enough that I had a lot of fans, like a lot of people used to love to come support me. That in itself, for a person who grew up without a feeling of worth, you know what I'm saying, was a little bit addictive as
Yeah, a
well.
little bit of a drug.
Yeah, so I always tell people when because I I trained some pros and other fighters along the way. I've been fortunate enough to have some people confide in me and help guide them in their boxing careers. And I've helped a few people become Golden Glove champions and get some fights on ESPN as
Oh,
pros.
hell yeah.
So I mean, we're not really the A side guys at the ESPN level, but I
You're
got the
there.
fight that was the safest fight they could get taking a step up.
Yeah.
Right. The guy wasn't a killer, just a tough guy. Right. But it was their guy. So you're going to have to beat him really well.
Yeah.
But in the process of it, what I tell people all the time is you got to be careful with everywhere from promotions feeding you like lines of BS. The promotion I was with was also a buddy of mine, was my sparring partner. So I bled with him.
Yeah.
We fought twice a week in my gym and other gyms we were training out of, and I fought on his shows, and
Yeah.
he fought on the show.
You trust him.
So I trust him. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of promoters you got to be careful with, right? Massachusetts has got some good promoters, but if you start getting calls from step up guys, big guys, very seldom has your best interest in mind. So what I always tell people is have an exit strategy. And I come back to when is enough ever enough?
Yeah.
Right. What do you need for you? What's your goal? If it's a world championship and you don't have a couple hundred fans to fight coming, if you don't have a few hundred amateur fights, some national championships under your belt with you won Olympic alternate opportunities or been to the Olympics, the whole house is almost against you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to beat the house to be a world champion. You know what I'm saying? And people have done it. It's great, but it's like, I can win the mega bucks too. You know what I'm saying? Like I hit on a scratch ticket every now and then. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a very difficult road. So I always tell people to have an exit strategy. This sport is fun. Boxing is great. The amateurs is awesome. You can do it till the day you die. Once you turn pro, you're in a business. You're a business. You're a product.
Yeah.
And the business will leave you broken, and lonely if you let it. It'll leave you without money because easy come, easy go. No one gives a fuck how you spend your money because you'll need to fight again to make that money. And at some point, they're going to get you.
Yeah.
They're going to get you a big payday for you. But if it's big for you, it's usually bigger for them, right? Unless you trust them. Like I said, I trust the promotions I've had my fighters with, the pro fighters I've held with. I trust those guys. It'll leave you broken. Like you beat up, you're dogged out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it'll leave you lonely. Because when you're done, they're on to the next one. And it's no disrespect. It's nature. It's like, I'm not going to be mad at the lion for seizing the opportunity when I'm wounded.
Yeah, you got to have you're sort of saying like you got to have a mutual understanding going into it.
Indifference.
Yeah.
It's like you got to be stoic almost, right? There's a preferred and unpreferred indifference we talk about in stoicism, right? Like my preferred indifference is I would rather have things go this way. If not, it's life. You know what I'm saying? My preferred indifference. Yeah. Well, this guy's got a gun to my head. You know what I'm saying? He could probably kill me right now. But since I'm not dead, I might as well handle the situation moving forward because I'm not dead yet. Right. So and that's a hard place to get to, right? When you're using that scenario. But, that's kind of like, where I have to look at it from because if this is my friend and they've got dreams and aspirations, I'm like, you got to remember, let's take a look at our rational emotional checklist. Emotionally, you want to be a world champion. Rationally, okay, you bring fight. For club shows, you bring 100 people to fight. You get some sponsors, great. You know what I'm saying? But okay, you don't have 150 fights. You've never won open class professional tournaments nationally, not professional, but nationally. You've never been an Olympic alternate or made the Olympic trial team. Like all these things start to point towards, we have not saying you can't, we have a long road of fighting in local clubs.
Yeah. How bad do you want it?
Before you get a step up. And then we talked about being selfish earlier, being super selfish. And that comes back to leaving you lonely. How long can your significant other handle you doing this? Right? How long can your family sit around and watch this happen? How long would your child realize his dad's not coming home or his mom's not coming home tonight forever, as long as they're training for the next fight? Because there's always another fight. Doesn't matter. Like when after my last fight, hey man, that was awesome, great fight. It's gonna serve you well moving forward, and this and that. I say, hey man, I love you, but remember what I said. I'm just passing through here. I'm working on something spiritual. I
Yeah.
appreciate the ride, but I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And my buddy, who promoted me, he knew once I said I was done.
He knew.
He said, no problem. I had other promoters call me. Once you retire for a while, you get calls from other guys.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
a year. Hey, you want to make 10
Someone
grand?
fell
You
out
want to
or
make 10
whatever.
grand?
Yeah.
2 weeks, but you got to make heavyweight. Like,
Yeah.
that guy's going to be 40 pounds bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so, you know, you have to have an exit strategy, you know, and that's something I preach hard. And that exit strategy includes don't use this money to support your life. Use this money to get ahead.
Yeah.
Pay off your car. So I can, you know what I'm saying? Put a down payment on a house. But what's your career? What are you going to do for the rest of your life that's going to be sustainable? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really what you want to make sure you have in your pocket no matter what, because then you won't do what's beneath you. You know what I'm saying? You won't take the money because you need the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'll take the fight because you want the fight. You
Not
see what
the
I'm
money.
saying?
Yeah.
100%. You know what I'm saying? I could have got big, you know, there's guys I would have loved to have fought. I would have loved to fight Chavez Jr. If I could have made it past round 4 or 5, I probably could have gave him some hell at the time I was fighting, because he was only because he was notoriously for not putting in the type of work for training.
Yeah. And I remember watching all it wasn't Embedded's the UFC show, but I think it was whatever the Showtime one was that's like Embedded.
Yeah.
I used to watch, and I was a fan of Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like notoriously
for not training as hard.
Yeah.
So that's like the type of guy where if you get a chance to get him when he's not really taking care of himself, he's still going to be a bad dude. But if you can slip by around 5 or 6 and he can start, look what Anderson Silva did to him.
Yeah.
That was like his first, like, I think second, maybe pro boxing match.
I think he had one pro boxing match while he was
outboxing.
Still MMA, but he
outboxed him. And that was proof that MMA guys can cross over that know how to box. And Silva made him look like he never bought a glove. That was like world champion. You know
I remember that fight. I think it was Sergio Martinez and Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
Sergio, I think, was pretty much piecing him up the whole fight, but then I think maybe the last round or second to last round, Chavez Jr. just shows that he's still got superior skill. Maybe not superior than him, but you know, he's above average skills. And he drops them, and you're like, whoa! Like, if this dude took his training seriously, like, could he do that every round?
Yeah. Well, he would have been able to, like, maybe like stand up to his dad's shoes in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I get some people, right?
Yeah. That's a hard thing
doesn't
to follow.
walk in his father's shoes. So it was
one of the greatest ever. It's
you know
tough.
what I'm saying? But no, it was a fun journey, but you know, I don't miss it at all. You know, what I miss more was the after parties.
Yeah.
With everybody, because I would come out.
You got your fans there. You like on such a high.
Family, dude. They're my friends. It was like my whole gym and people I grew up with. So I remember one time we fought in Lewiston, Maine. It was cool because the Lewiston Coliseum was like Ali fought up there and stuff like that.
He fought Sonny Liston there, right?
Yeah. So we were up there. Buskers came up from here. I had friends coming down from Maine. So I had all like my pot smoking friends come down. One of my buddies got like it was like the Lewiston Hotel had RV spots out back.
Yeah.
So he pulls up in his RV camper, right? And then I have everybody from my gym coming up. These people's kids I train. Right? We took over like an entire floor of the Lewiston. I think it was a Ramada, I think, up there. And in the middle of the night, the whole floor was a party. Right. Yeah. Inside, people from outside from Maine were inside, and people that stayed in there. I go outside, there's people outside. We took the fucking hotel over. I go in and I'm talking Berkeley guys. I teach their kids were out there doing freaking bong rips and shit. People, and every time I took around, there's like another person doing some kind of crazy shots with other people I grew up with in Maine, people from the gym. It was just a awesome time to see that many people come together to watch, you know, to support me fighting, but then become friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking people from my past, people from my present, you know, my hillbilly friends, because I'm just a hippie from Maine, you know what I'm saying? Along with like people that are like professional, like real estate agents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got professionals from Maine too, but just the different people from my childhood I grew up doing dumb shit with, all hanging out with people from my gym, just absolute blast, dude.
The high of bringing, like, those people are all there because of you in that way. So it's like they're all having a great time.
Yeah.
like because you brought
In a
them
way,
all
almost
together.
facilitated it.
You
Yeah,
know, like you
absolutely.
did, you sort of like shepherded that
Yeah,
that
it's a good point.
community of people, and
Yeah.
that in itself, it's like, whoa, like
It was awesome.
I got this love,
There's a
I got this
lot of
love of
us.
people, that's awesome,
Yeah, it was
man.
cool, man.
That's a
That was
great feeling.
probably one of the best nights I had was that night. I'll never forget at the Ramada in Lewiston. And did I fight that night? Because there was a couple times I went up there. One night, opponent pulled out, and I had to give a speech.
Yeah.
They asked me to come out and give a speech. I don't think, yeah, I didn't fight that, but that night that we had that big party, I think I had fought this kid, Tolson Lewis in Lewiston, Maine. And that was a pretty cool night. We had a great time. I think it was the second time I went up there to fight.
Do you have a favorite fight?
My last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So two of my fights went to distance. My first fight was this guy, Ralph Johnson, big 6'4" guy in Melrose. That was my pro debut. That was a tough fight. It was closer than I thought it was, but I was the A side sometimes gets a little bit of a
Yeah.
nod.
I saw you fight in Melrose. Maybe that was him. He was a
It
big,
was a
tall
big,
guy,
tall guy.
wide
Yeah, it was an
stance.
awkward fight.
Yeah.
Hard. It was my first fight, no nerves, and a bunch of people there. And I mean, I won it, but it was a close fight. I thought it was closer than what the skill cards were. But it felt closer because it was a hard fight. But my last fight, I had dragged myself deep, man. Like I had this just ego, right? At this point, like I was too proud. It's my night with my kid.
Yeah.
I went to the weigh-ins. I took him with me. I always had one of the kids I used to work with help me come up, count money and stuff like that with the promoters. So I was ragged, man. I drove my son up there, went to the weigh-in. It's cool, right? I got a picture of him sitting in the car seat right next to the scale and weighing in, face off. My boy's sitting in the foreground, right? But then we go to the hotel. Instead of staying at my friend, I used to go by myself the night of the fight and go rehydrate and all. Nope, it's my night. Well, they take dogs in this hotel in Lewiston. They get my kid. I got my dog. There's another kid sleeping in bed. My wife came and stayed with me. My dog's barking all night at the fucking at the elevator going up and down. My kid's crying. Dude, I went into that ring dog tired the next night against a 23-year-old man. I'm 37, who at the time, he was 10-9 or 9-8. And I looked at his record. You can't look at his losses because his losses all come from like 14-0 guys he'd gone the distance with in their territory. This kid was
got a lot of time in the ring.
Tough little dude, and he had some small titles in his town from West Virginia. Tough young kid. He said, "Oh, I was like, I'm a little bigger than this guy," but I was looking for that test. Right? There's a couple guys that thought were going to be hard. I kind of got them out of there. There were guys with 50-50 records, and this guy was a 50-50 record, but he was young.
Yeah.
The other guys were a little older. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I'm getting hotter and hotter guys. And it's a process, right? You take hotter fights as you go up. And a 50-50 guy is not a guy he's got, 9 wins and 8 losses. Like, look at who he's fought, though.
Yeah.
And he wasn't getting stopped. He was going to distance. I watched some videos like, this is going to be a little dog fight, but I think I'll get him a little bigger than him. No, he was small, but he was the size.
But mighty.
He got in, right? And again, I got in the second round. And I told you earlier, I had me dead to rights. I had to crawl back. I had to come out of the trenches to come back and stop them. And to do all that, like I said, it set me free. Like there's a painting one of my clients got of me, and it's me after I collapsed after the fight. When it was over, I fell down in the corner and just kind of like hit the ground. It's me down on my knees, my head on the floor, and he had the whole painting done. It's like this guy, Vladimir Zimikov. These guys are all like MIT guys. So they know people. It's like in a pressure. It's in my basement. It's awesome painting. And I had it up in my gym. You might have seen it up in the back wall of my old gym. I used to hang up there, but a super cool painting of still shot of me after I won the fight.
Yeah.
And you can't really tell who won or lost by the picture, right?
Yeah.
But
it was like, you gave everything you had.
It was that exact moment without me that was like that crucifixion of my soul. That like the demon was fought, like Rocky in the end when he was like, "It's hard to me." Like the last one fought Antonio Tava. Like,
yeah. That was a good movie. That's an underrated movie.
But it resonates with me because I get it. It was finally like the demon was gone. The monkey wasn't on my back no more. That like just now I know I can walk through fucking hell and win one, come out on top. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was really what that was that moment that I was looking for. And like I said, that one set me free. And to this day, like he probably thinks I'm a weirdo, but I'm always chatting with him on Facebook, and he's wicked cool. Like we're nice, we're friends. But at the end of the night, we walked downstairs. I walked by him. He said his cowboy hat on. I almost got you. It was just like that saying alone. He's a cool dude, And I keep meaning I want to go down. I'm gonna go watch one of his fights because he's kicking ass again down in West Virginia.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm gonna go down and check out one of his fights. I was supposed to go last summer, but shutting the gym down didn't work out and all that. But every fight I buy a ticket And he's like, man, you didn't have to do that. I was like, dude, see your wife front, your girlfriend row, like whatever. I was like, I just want to support you. I was like, you set me free. Like, I don't know if it makes any sense to you yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you like if you understand what I'm saying. Maybe you're not in that place where I'm at, and I think he does. You know what I'm saying? I think he gets it. You know, but he's always grateful. I buy tickets for everyone's fights, but that was my favorite fight because, like I said, it allowed me to, like you said, let go, to move on. Like it's okay to like kind of set that down. You know what I mean? And then go in the next chapter. You know, be a father. Let's see what else I can do.
On to the next.
Yeah, you know, on to the next challenge. I think there's a lot of things we can do to stretch ourselves once we understand the concept of martial arts. Guitar is such a parallel to boxing. When to be hard, when to be soft, when to be fast, when to change rhythms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When to sit down in your punches and bend those strings versus, you know what I'm saying? How to feel it versus you start off mimicking patterns before you start off playing. You start off drilling before you spar, before you fight. You know what I mean? Like
the challenge of it, you know, I gotta do this better, you know.
100%. I would be less afraid to go and jump into a pro fight right now than I would be if someone said you got to go play in front of 20 people in a random bar somewhere. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But it's because I know why. I haven't been able to put the reps in. I haven't been able to train enough. I haven't done enough sparring. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like that same philosophy that led me to being a better boxer. And you know what I'm saying is what's going to help me get to be a better guitar player. You know what I'm saying? A better coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even as a boxing coach, it's the same thing. You know, you would think it'd be easy. I ain't got to worry about fighting no more. Now I go to bed at night. Tonight, I got to worry about 2 people tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm not going to bed just thinking about myself tonight. I literally put off a jiu-jitsu tournament tomorrow because, hey.
Are you going to do another one tomorrow?
Yeah, it was a guy that was like in the 50 bracket.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any in the 40 bracket. So he'd come down to mine. And, but it's around 2:00. That's when my guys will be fighting. I was hoping it was like 9 a.m. I was like, dude, let's go. We'll go 3 rounds. So it was BMAC, the Brazilian Martial Arts Academy in Somerville. So I called up the gym. I was like, hey, is this guy by any chance around? Or do you have, he's sitting right here. I was like, I just let him know I'm not going to make it. So I got 2 guys in the finals. I got to be there for these guys.
Yeah.
I was hoping they're going to throw us on early. I was like, oh, dude, thanks for calling. Like, I got to imagine, you know, it's not easy to get matches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially as we get older. You know, there's not too many guys 50 years old trying to jump into the journey of, you know, the white belt jiu-jitsu world. Yeah. So they were pretty appreciative of it. They're like, oh, no, we're Brazilian.
Yeah, you did the right thing.
He's like, we'll see if we can jump into another division or something. I'm like, ooh. It's like, I might get lucky on that one.
Yeah.
This could be like one of them, what do you call them, the California white belts?
Yeah,
It is what it is. But, you know, this dude could probably do jiu-jitsu for the last 20 years. Because he sounded pretty confident.
You got to like ask how his last name is spelled. And if it's spelled a certain Brazilian way, you're like, we'll go to the next one.
Full of cauliflower here, right? He's got this white belt. I'm like, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't intimidate me to get tapped out. There's no ego there. It just makes me want to be better. That's the beauty, I think, of going through the journey of proving myself in boxing. I've got nothing to prove in jiu-jitsu. As a matter of fact, when I go and I train in class, mine, like, you know, they stand rank and file, right? You know, belts all the way back to white belts. Dude, I go all the way back, and I don't care if I got more stripes than the other white belt. I always go way in the back to the corner. I don't care if kids are taking class. I let them all get ahead of me. And people, you know, I've had a few people like, really? Like, you know, you got 2. I'm in last place trying to be first. I'm not here to make any, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always have the mentality that I'm the lowest guy in a totem pole trying to get up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just keeps me humble. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that regards. But I don't have any, you can tap me out and I can just be like, you know, but it does feel good to get somebody, especially when they got a little bit of, if they're a higher belt, you sink an arm bar on somebody, there's a little piece of you that's
like I still remember my first tap to this day. Like, I actually don't even know how I got it. It was a triangle, which I'm not necessarily like, I'm not like the triangle. I'm not that tall, long leg, like guy that gets triangles. Somehow I fell into it.
Yep.
It was a blue belt.
Yep.
Wasn't even a white belt. Yep. I was like a, maybe like a 1 or 2 stripe white belt, you know? And I still remember it to this day. And it was maybe one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life.
Like, oh, I hit that.
I was like, what? I was like, I didn't know what they were tapping. I didn't know. I was like,
happened so fast. Yeah. Yeah, there's been a few guys. There's one dude at the gym, super, super cool dude, but he's like 270 pounds. He's a heavy guy, but he's a big guy. And he's a
Yeah.
blue belt, got some stripes. And same thing. One day, man, and he was a wrestler. I could tell because we started going to roll, and he was like right to the
Yeah.
back of my head. And I was like, "Oh, you're a wrestler."
Damn it.
So we were going, and that one day I fell into an armbar on him. He just kind of rolled this way, and I'm fast. So big guys, I can be a little faster than. And I scrambled. I got over. I got the armbar on him. I've been paying for it ever since, dude.
Yep.
I've been paying for it ever. He's not mean, but now he knows.
He knows
he knows I'm a physical guy.
Around.
So it's
yeah.
like we're always helpful. But
Yeah.
when we like even when we because you tap a guy in a round in training, you go right back to rolling again.
Yeah.
We started going again, and he had me in some weird thing where I was like almost like perpendicular to him in like a cross fashion, and he was crushing me, and somehow reached up under and grabbed his own leg. I didn't even know what it was, but was just suffocating me, dude, like inside his chest. And I just remember a corner of my eye, I saw like 15 seconds left on the clock. I was like, I'll die right here.
Yeah.
I'll die right here. I gotta last.
I know.
But now ever since then, you know what I'm saying? Like, when we roll, it's like I go with bigger guys a lot. And like I said, I'll go right at him, but dude, you know what I mean? Not like he's not thinking about it. I know I'm probably thinking about it, but he just knows like, don't go easy. No, not on this guy. You know what I'm saying? Dude, he's
got a trick or two up his sleeve, and I don't want to be on the losing end of it.
Exactly. Like he knows I can explode, I can make a scramble, but he's just so massive, and he knows how to use it. You know what I'm saying? So when those guys get on top, and he's sweaty too. He's like, oh fuck.
I know. I can't wait to get back. I still haven't been back yet since I have my stuff going on, but now that my neck's feeling a little bit better, I want to like find a way to ease back into it. And there's guys that I see across all the time that I know I'm like, I can trust you and be like, hey,
flow rolls.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I'm just a little bit banged up, and they're not gonna try to like guillotine me. I feel like that would be the worst thing that ever happened to me right now. So
Plus, I'm always around, dude.
I would definitely roll you 100%, man.
100%. Even if it's not rolling, just working out. Just to get moving again.
And too, I want to plug that too before we wrap anything up. But you do drop-in classes at defensive edge, defensive edge martial arts. And what nights do you do your drop-ins?
So, I teach the boxing program there, right? Obviously, they're full martial arts gym. They've got everything from women's self-defense, women's jiu-jitsu, co-ed jiu-jitsu, youth classes, Muay Thai, like you name it. I teach boxing there specifically 3 days a week. So Tuesdays 7:15 p.m., Wednesdays 5:15 p.m. Sundays not on the schedule. I give that back to the gym. They've been so good to me over there. Like from just as my personal training is concerned, it's up to me. I keep my money. They don't. He doesn't take a piece. Like that's unheard of at gyms. And he pays me to teach classes twice a week. So I give a 3:30 p.m. class back to the gym. But I do one second, son. But I do one fitness class a week at 2:30. You know what I'm saying? You got a weight bump. Yeah, I told you. It's all right.
Hey, buddy.
That's my dog. So I do one fitness class at 2:30 on Sundays. And then right after that, I do another skills class at 3:30. So those are all drop-in classes. You know what I'm saying? For boxing.
Yeah.
If people want to do fitness, I only do it once a week. But they also have like these fight fit classes, like 5:30, I think, pretty much on the weekdays. There's an early one on Saturdays. They have Muay Thai, like, 3-4 days a week. And all the instructors are great. I've known them all for years.
It seems like a great. I mean, I only go to the drop-ins, which, by the way, I love. They're like probably like some of the best shape I've ever gotten in my life is working with you, and like those drop-in classes are great because it's, life's busy, like schedules are busy, so to be able to just like when I know it's like, all right, I got to go to class. I got to go hit the bag for an hour and cure whatever is wrong with my brain right now.
Man,
like I got that itch. I'm like, I got to go hit the bag for a little bit. So it really is amazing.
Just a little bit. Just undomesticate ourselves.
I got to go back to a little bit of caveman status for a minute and just like go crazy. But
only $20.
Yeah, $20. It really is like so worth it. It's the best thing ever, man. But dude, I appreciate you doing this podcast, and like it was dude, just hearing about your life and hearing about your outlook on life. I think a lot of people are gonna resonate with, and I can't wait to share it, man. I really appreciate it. I want to give another cheers, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's been a good one, man. I've known you for a long time, so I, I was honored to be asked to do this.
oh hell yeah, man. Appreciate it. Well, guys, this has been a little dig and yeah, check us out on, check us out wherever you can check out Brandon on the way. Is that
Yeah.
the
So
way?
my business is the way. I gotta get my website redesigned right now. It still
Yep.
shows my old location, but all the address, not the address, but the contact information is all me, my cell phone number, the way LLC. But on Instagram, it's Every Goal Has. The
Yep.
website is everygoalhas.com. But yeah, if you Google the way boxing, it should come up, stuff like that. And live and die by those philosophies. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I tell people all the time, like, if we're not training our resilience, we're training the opposite. And at some point in our lives, we're going to be called upon to do something, whether it is by an illness or a death in the family or some particular situation, which we have no way but to go through it. And it's going to be our endurance and our resilience that allows us to get through that, to make those decisions, navigating a boat home. And we're going to be called upon to do something at some point in our life. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
That is beyond what we thought possible for us. And I tell people that if we don't train ourselves both mentally and physically, if we don't have our spiritual, self in check, and we haven't built that stuff and fortified that to be ready for those moments, you know, it's gonna be a difficult time in our lives that we may not come back from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't just mean with your life, but it could be emotionally, it could be spiritually, it could be psychologically. So that's one of the things I always like to leave people with is, even 5 minutes in discomfort, scheduled discomfort,
Yeah.
makes the other 23 hours and 55 minutes of our day just a little bit easier. That's like cold water and all these moments come from. So if I could ever leave anybody with a message, that's just, seek out discomfort, in a productive way. You know what I'm saying? Like, in any way necessary, whether it be philosophically, spiritually, physically, or all combined into one. You know what I'm saying? To really get to that concept of what martial arts really is. I think that's what we're looking for, especially as men, but, as a species in general, you know what I mean? And it's just going to serve you so much better in life.
Hell yeah, man. I can't think of a better way to end than that.
Yeah. Well,
hell yeah.
Thanks,
thank you guys. And thank you guys for watching. Cut.